back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where we live stream every Sunday morning, usually at 9:30 a.m. Until Eastern time, until 10, unless I'm traveling, which is getting ready to pick up, or unless I have a guest on, like I do today. We're going to have guest Lindsay Robbins, who I've known for a couple years, met in person probably at least 2 different times at different events. She is also a member of the Parrot Project, and we will be talking to her today on a couple different topics on how training has helped her with her birds. But we will get on to that in a couple of minutes. She's in the lobby and waiting. And okay, here comes all the alerts of people joining. So for those that may be new, my name is Laura Joseph. I'm owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We are an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to empower animals and the people that care for them. And we specialize in the science of behavior called applied behavior analysis. And we show people, it's using B.F. Skinner's laws of behavior. We show people how to use this approach to work with animals of all species, and using applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement. And we make it very easy to understand the science of behavior, why it's important to work with animals, and how to apply those approaches. So a couple of things before we get started. Keep an eye on the events section. Karen, I don't know if you're listening to this in the other room, but we have events, and my travel schedule is picking up starting with January. I've been asked to, I'm going to have to turn this off. I've been asked to present at Ohio State University, lecture at Ohio State University once again. Last year we did remote. This year they said, now everybody's familiar with remote learning and remote working, but when you are in person, it is at a whole different level. So I am excited to get back in front of people, working with people. You can also find more about what we do by signing up for our email newsletter, and you can do that right here on our Facebook page. Signing up for our newsletter. Obviously, I'm going to skip that graphic because it's not pulling up quick enough. But anything else, we can talk more about other things we offer towards the end of the live stream. We have a bunch of people coming on. Yes, thank you. So today we're going to be focusing on parrots. Hey, Harik, Ray, Tara, Keith, Aubrey, Shelly, Maggie, Adrian, Iris, Therese, Lisa, Mary, Debbie, Storm, Melinda. Not to make you nervous, Lindsay, but there's a lot of people coming on. So today we're going to focus on parrots. But a lot of what we talk about is applicable to all animals, not just parrots. One thing I forgot to mention, if anybody needs to get a hold of me, I answer each and every one of my emails, and you can reach me at Laura, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. And I have something I haven't had in a while that I want to make an announcement of, but coming up, but I'll do that at the end of the live stream. Okay? All right. Lindsay, are you ready? Are the loudmouth hyacinths too loud in the background?
I worked with 3 of them.
Okay.
So I'm good.
So you're used to this.
I'm used to that. We had 3 at the local store at one time. So
yeah, I'm telling you, I can handle the cockatoo screeches and everything, but the macaws, they just have a different decibel. But when the hyacinths hear me in here talking, they like to chime in.
Yes.
So, Lindsay Robbins, I met you a couple of years ago. I think I met you at Task, didn't I?
It was at the C4AW thing, the conference in Chicago? Before that?
Oh, yeah, it was.
Okay. Yeah, the C4AW in Chicago. We went to that with 2 other people from my local bird store. We all went together. Yeah, that was awesome. It was the
Yeah,
best thing.
that's when I first met you, and now
Yeah.
you're located in Michigan, so right, so you're the next state just north of me.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so Lindsay Robbins is or a member of the Parrot Project, and when I do behavior spotlights, it's always with somebody in our level 1, level 2, or our species specific online learning, like the Parrot Project, the Pig Project. Lindsay, do you want to tell us, so give us a little bit of background about you and your birds?
Yeah. So I never was interested in I loved animals always my entire life. I always loved animals. Never pictured owning a bird until college. And you just meet that one person. And one of my best friends, who is the owner manager of the local store, me and her worked together at the same place in college. And she's like, "Hey, do you want to come to a bird store and come check it out?" And I'm like, "Okay." And basically, since then, birds have become my life. So my flock includes, I have two conures, an Amazon, and a macaw. So I started with Roxy. She's my baby. I've had her the longest. She's now 10 years old. She's the one that got me into the world. So she's a green cheek conure. We also have Zeus, who's another hybrid of a green cheek conure. And then I have Jazz, who is a
I know,
green wing.
Jazz.
Yeah, I know,
Well,
Jazz, right?
from the Parrot Project,
She's
anyway.
Jazz is my green wing macaw who oh, that was I was very fortunate because of having the opportunity where I volunteer and support the bird store by me. I was fortunate enough to adopt him, and he's in my life now. And then, as anyone listening to this that has more than one bird knows, sometimes the world goes, "Nope, you're not done," even though you think you're done. And then Carlos entered my life. Carlos is a yellow-naped Amazon. He would be considered an adult to close to senior bird. He is another rescue. It's one of those stories where basically he bonded to me and nobody else. And they're like, "Guess what, Lindsay? I got another one." So, but he is my life as well, though. He amazes me every day being an older bird. And you hear, can't teach an old bird new tricks. What we'll
Oh,
talk about
yes.
today, that is a
Yes.
lie. That is a lie. He amazes me so much. So
And
yeah.
that's the thing about parrots is people say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. The hell you can't. Most people I mean, for the lifespan of that parrots have, 50,
Mhm.
60, 70, 80 years old,
Mhm.
um, the majority of the work that I do, I don't get the luxury of working with young birds, so I can teach them whatever's going to make them flourish right from the get-go. A lot of times, in some of your work that you do with your volunteer work at the bird store, um, you're working with birds and that are 40 years old, and you're starting to teach them. Okay, you don't want to say, no, I don't want you to do that behavior. You say, let's find the reinforcer and for that undesired behavior and reinforce an alternate behavior instead. So a lot of our work is behavior modification, changing behavior.
Yep. And even with the one that I got as a baby, like the one I did get as a baby is Roxy, my conure. Like I've had to do replacement behavior with her, even though I've had her since a baby. And it's, just because of things happen or like, okay, we need to replace this with something else. So, I mean, it happens across the board. And this parrot project has just helped me so much with realizing that. And part of it is also just like, it's almost the pair project also just helps you like not just learn, but there's sort of some acceptance in there because I'm sure in the world out there, people say, "Oh, you're supposed to do this with birds and this with birds," and like, but they're not like you who have like PhDs and behaviors, and there's like these just things that people just say birds should do and stuff, but it may not be backed by behavioral science and stuff. That's just those things that, and I had a lot of that in the beginning just because we didn't know. You just hear stuff, you're like, oh, it's supposed to be like this. And the parrot project really helps you sort of break down those walls that like you assume like it's supposed to be like this, or you think it's supposed to, this is just how it is with birds. No, it's not. The parrot project helps you break down those walls and go, no, this is possible with positive reinforcement. And like the biggest thing is that positive reinforcement and how that just changes everything.
Yeah, it's all about the science of behavior, and I make it very understandable. I
Yeah.
don't come out and blue,
No.
shoot out all these scientific words that people don't understand. And just to clarify, I do not have a PhD. Um,
Oh, sorry. I'm
no,
sorry.
that's okay. That's
I
okay. A lot
apologize.
of people say that. Well, even veterinarians that I will present with say, I always want to call you a doctor. I have master level education in applied behavior analysis. So, good. I'm glad you said that, Lindsay, because a lot of times I'm getting tagged all the time on Facebook um, about, in these different parrot forums, and I appreciate people tagging me and referring people to our work. But a lot of people have these understandings of, oh, that's one thing that gets me is people say, oh, you live with a bird, you just got to get used to getting bit. Biting, that is not true. Do not do that. I like my skin. I like my fingers. You know what I mean? And if we're pushing a bird to bite, biting is a form of communication for that bird. And what happens when a bird bites is it usually that is a serious positive punisher. And it'll make the behavior you're doing stop immediately. And if it does, it reinforces the behavior of biting from the bird. You're teaching the bird, if I bite, the person will stop doing what they're doing. But also, one of the four main side effects of using aversives, something we don't like or the animal doesn't like, such as a bite, to change behavior, is increased aggression. And that happens a lot with parrots. It happens a lot with any animal that is in an enclosure because their choices are limited. And when we refuse to understand that the bite or the open mouth is a form of communication, those behaviors labeled as aggressive are often increased. So, and there's cues to that does not mean if a bird bites you, just sit there and grin and bear it. No, if a bird bites me, I'm going to get that bird off of me as fast as possible. But then I also want to say, what cues did I miss to make this bird uncomfortable, to feel that it has to show this form of communication, you know? And Lindsay, do you just want to discuss with me like any of those subtle cues to watch out for with a parrot that lets you know, hey, this bird may not be comfortable?
I mean, I think some of the like the ones that we see right away, the feathers up. And I know there's a lot of discussion of like feathers up can mean multiple things. So I know a lot of people say get to know your bird. But I mean, it's usually feathers up, especially what part of the body those feathers are up. I can easily tell when my macaw, if he is trying to tell me no, I can identify it pretty quick by which feathers are sticking up on his body. Same
Mm-hmm.
with my conures. And then there's also the with my Amazon, because I have a yellow naped Amazon and they have like the yellow eyes with the black people. And when they call it pinning of the eyes, like that's a good, like watching his eyes is a very big sensor, like watching those.
Yeah, and like you said, feathers up,
Mhm.
pending on which part of the body. Like I know our green wing macaw Murray, who now lives with our volunteer Kendall Jugla, his were when the feathers came up like right here and on the back of the neck. That was like I was always watching them, and if I saw those even move, I was like, boop, stop, and
Yep.
find a different approach. So a couple other things could be like a slightly opening of the beak.
Yep.
It could be some vocalizations they're giving. It could be how their body placement, like starting to crouch. Because starting to crouch could be like putting themselves in a defensive situation. It could be like you see it with a lot of macaws, like the wings
Hmm.
coming up.
Yep.
If I see a wing go out like this, oh, I stop immediately. When I see it way up like this, that's
Yeah.
a big fat warning.
Yeah.
Back off.
Yeah.
And even Lindsay, like with Rico, my umbrella cockatoo, some people will say, I didn't see, there are no warning signs. Yes, there are. And you'll learn them The more you train an animal, training is a form of communication, you'll learn, oh, this is what behavior looks like when the bird is comfortable. This is what behavior looks like when the bird is nervous, when the bird is scared.
Mhm.
But one of the behaviors I was going to mention to you is with Rico. A lot of times people will say he's so unpredictable, and that when I hear somebody say he's so unpredictable, I was like, you are on my radar to show you how to make that behavior predictable. Because what
Mhm.
Rico will do, and I warn everybody that walks in here, when he stands extremely still and he'll follow you with his eyes instead of moving his head to see where you are,
Uh,
that's a warning sign that he's not comfortable.
yeah.
Or even like if he sits there and his eyes squint just the slightest, you better back up and find a different way to approach or start pulling and gathering positive reinforcers. And we do it all the time. We do it all the time here.
Yep.
So training. How does training help you better understand your birds, Lindsay?
Um, I definitely, since I started the Prayer Project and I started the positive reinforcement, the good, bridging and stationing, starting with target training. That's the word I was trying to think of. Just that basis of communication, I can tell I have the relationship with my birds is a lot stronger. The relationship with my birds is just more understanding. Like I think they like you can just tell they understand what I'm trying to ask them to do, and I understand what they're telling me. Like those subtle signs when they're like, "Nope, don't want to do that," or "I'm not comfortable with this." Like just really, yeah, just that communication is way more significant now, way more open to and I think so then therefore my relationship with my birds is stronger. It was basically the use is stronger. Yeah, it's just
Stronger. I'm just jotting notes
yeah.
as you're talking because you're making some really great points.
Mhm.
Um, Stronger and easier.
Yeah, actually easier to be like, "Okay, gotcha." Very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want my life, period, to be happy. I want my life with my birds, especially in my living and working situation,
Mhm.
to be as fun, enriching, and happy as possible for both of us. So, something you mentioned, you keep saying training and communication. Do you agree with me that training is one of the best forms of communication with the birds that we can find?
Yes, especially because like my two my Amazon and my macaw, like they're rescues, right? So they come, they I'm trying to build. I mean, you need to build a communication so they understand because they're coming from previous homes where we don't know how the communication was there, and so like I need to build that with them. They need to know they can trust me, and how can I build that trust by communicate, building that positive reinforcement. They know I'm a positive. They know what I'm asking them. So then they trust me. They know what to do. Like the both of them, had things that they are for objects, for places. That goes down because when they know what I'm asking them to do. So they, like they're not as afraid if they know what I'm asking them to do, right?
More
Um,
comfortable.
yeah,
Yep. You become predictable. Your behaviors become
yeah.
predictable. Lindsay, have you found that when you're training a bird and you're using a food as a reinforcer, that through time you can see that trust and eagerness to interact with you start to increase and just flourish?
Especially, yeah. When I walk into the bird room, all my birds immediately go to their station on their door. I don't even have to go up to the cage. They're like, "All right, I'm here.
Love
Give me
it.
a
So
note."
if there's not power in that behavior, that is showing the birds
Mhm.
are like, let's start training. Let's
Yeah,
start
they're ready.
training.
They know something's gonna if they're on their station, exactly. They know that means I'm gonna get them out. There's gonna be positive reinforcement. Like she's here. Let's get out. We're gonna do something
You're
positive.
touching you're
Yeah.
touching on a lot of things that I want to remember to talk about. So A lot of people will hear me say that studies show if you're actually using positive reinforcement training, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. So you're just, I mean, you just sitting here saying as soon as you walk in the room and the birds know you're going to start training, they want to go to their stations and start the training. The proof is in the pudding. So you mentioned, I know we want to talk about stationing today, and you mentioned target training. You want to, because a lot of times I start with targets before I tell people, explain to them what stations are and how important they are. Do you want to start with talking with me on target training?
Yeah. So as you've seen, if any of you guys watch your shows or videos, so we have a target stick, right? And so the target training it begins simply with, well, even before that, even before we get the target stick out, starting with finding out what's their biggest reinforcement. And with an Amazon and a macaw and Conyers, it's food. It's not actually touch. Touch is not their highest reinforcement for any of them. It is food. And so first thing, identifying that, and then starting with, you give them the reinforcement, say good, or opposite, good. Turn it around. It's a Sunday morning, so turn that around, right? So say good, giving them positive reinforcement, good, positive reinforcement, right? So for my whole flock, I'm very blessed that they all like the same high reinforcement mostly, which is I've shelled sunflower seeds. That works, and it works for little conyers, and it works for big boys. It's great. So starting there is just so they understand when they hear the word good, they know they're gonna get that treat. Good treat, good treat. Start there, and I mean you don't really have to do that too long for them to understand that's what's gonna happen when they hear the word good. And then we bring out the target stick. And when they touch the target stick, how you want them, that's what we've learned about in the parrot project. You want them to touch the target stick how you want them to. So not aggressively, not biting it, where on their beak, or are they touching it with their foot? Like, you're identifying exactly where you want them to touch that target stick and how they're touching that target stick. And then you just get, so for mine, it was a simple, just top of their beak, touch the target ball. Good. Give the reinforcement, and they figured. And I swear, my Amazon, this 35 to 40-year-old, he's somewhere in there. I mean, he got that quicker than my macaw, who's younger, right? And he understood right away. If I touch that with my beak just the right way, she is giving me a sunflower seed. He got that so fast. So starting there, and basically, and that opens, like we talked about, this whole communication piece. If I do this, you're going to say good, which means you're going to give me that sunflower seed. So I'm going to, this is good stuff that's going on right now. And they know, and, and obviously it's on you to make sure you follow through, giving that positive reinforcement every time when you say good, try it. So you got to be on yourself to make sure you follow through.
And if you post a video of your training in the Parrot Project and your bridge is off, I'm going to be right there going,
yeah.
Hey.
Yeah, you got to be on it. So that was another thing, was like just for yourself practicing. I mean, you're practicing with them pretty much. It's for you and your parrot. Yep. It's not just them. Like a lot of it's on you and learning how to do it for yourself and stuff. But yeah.
Training this is something you had mentioned before too. Mm-hmm. Training is teamwork. It's not just about getting the animal to do what we want it to do. We are learning from the animal we're training as well. And the animals are great at showing us when we make mistakes, that we are making mistakes. We're moving too fast. We're moving too slow. I don't understand what you're saying. I don't understand what you're asking of me. So yeah, you had alluded to that before, and I wrote that down to not to forget that training is teamwork. It's not just me teaching. I'm learning as well. The bird is teaching me as well, and I'm fine if the bird is teaching me.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Like you're like, oh, okay, oh, like a lot of O's while you're like going through it. Like, oh, okay. But yeah, so starting that target, I mean, that's what I started with. I mean, that's what also helped with the Pair Project is like, okay, because I tried to do training before joining, like thinking I know what I'm doing. And like, you know, and again, you take stuff that you hear from other people, other bird owners, you know, and you think you got it going and you realize, and then once I started the pair project, I realized, nope, got to back way up to that very basic level of communication of good, great, you know, here's the treat, just starting literally right there. You need to start there first and then introduce the target. And then you can move on to the other things you want. Like, but like I said, I think it relates to me more too, as I am a teacher by day. So I understand
Yep.
before the kid can read, they need to know their letters and they need to know their, right? Like you gotta start here before you can expect them to get over here. So I think that does sort of help me under like that understanding and that natural knowing of like, oh, you gotta, the word is like scaffolding in the education world.
Okay. Okay. So I'm glad you mentioned you were a teacher. I was going to mention that earlier. So I wanted for people that are watching that may not understand what targeting is. Targeting is when you teach an animal to touch a particular body part to an object. So like if you're working with birds, you can have a beak target. Whereas you show the target stick and you teach the bird, I want you to touch this with your beak. You can have a foot target where you teach the bird, I want you to touch the target sticks. And there's a difference. There's a difference between touch the target stick and grab the target stick. This is usually what we do not want. This is what we do want. This is what we don't want. This is what we do want. Like I use a lot of teaching if you have a target stick, and a lot of times like with certain animals, I'll just use a target as my hand to touch your nose or beak to my hand because my hand is always on me. So that way, when you use a target, you can get an animal to move from point A to point B. A target could be a great way to teach an animal recall, which means come to you when you ask it. So you can start, like if you're working with a bird that's flighted, or even one that's not flighted, but I'm giving a demonstration for a flighted bird. I want your feet targeting to my arm. And if they don't understand what this means, to fly across the room and put 2 feet on my arm, you could pull out the target stick and say, touch. So the bird has to fly across the room and land on your arm to touch the target stick. And then the target stick becomes a prop, meaning this is a temporary tool to aid behavior. So then you can drop the target stick and then just come, boom, there's your bird. I use targets. You can use a target stick to get a bird to lift a wing on cue for a body examination. You can use a target stick to get a bird onto a scale, to get a weight. You can use a target stick to get a bird into a crate. So I just wanted to mention there's a lot of different targets. Okay. When I ask sweet baby Rico to give me a kiss, it means something to me. It means something to him too. I don't know if it means the same thing to him it does to me, but it means I want your beak to target to my lips so I can give you a kiss. Do you know off the top of your head, Lindsay, any different behaviors that training a target has helped you get?
It helped for refocusing or like getting them to,
Anything.
Yeah. When I need them to like refocus or like just to build, like maybe if you sometimes you just feel like, okay, I want to build their communication up. Like let's go back and build that trust up a little bit. Maybe if you like had like me, work's been crazy. So, okay, let's bring back that. It's a great way just to even like, I'll bring it out just to build back up that basic communication of you do this for me, I'm going to reward you with positive reinforcement and like, in that community, just keeping that foundation of that strong communication, of that positive communication. I do it even just for that. I've also done it though when I have 2 male birds, so when hormones kick in, that target stick has helped, sort of help with behaviors with that as well. Just if I need them to like, okay, focus, just let's do that for today or focus over here, try, that's helped with that as well.
Good. I know I use targets and a lot of times I just use my finger I need, and I've taught this with both the highs, Rico, my umbrella, Coco, my umbrella, that I adopted like at 35 years old, Rocky or Moluccan, where I use, I need you to touch your foot to my finger. And then once you touch your foot to my finger, then I can say, now I need you to touch your, now I'm going to grab your toe. Now I'm going to turn on the Dremel. I'm going to file your nails. We had a volunteer in here that started probably 4 months ago, the lovely Jill Miller, that she always comes in. She volunteers Saturday and Sunday. She'll be here at noon, and she watches Coffee with Critters then. She came in probably 2 weeks ago, and she's like, "What's she getting ready to do?" I was like, "I'm going to trim my bird's nails." And she's like, "How do you do that? Do you capture them and then file it with a fingernail file?" And I was like, "Come with me, Kimosabi. Let me show you what I do."
Mm.
So I was like, "No, watch this." And so I get out the Dremel and set it on the island, and all the birds go to their stations, which we're getting ready to talk about. They go in their stations, are usually perches on the door as well, and they'll start sitting there going, "Hi, hi, hi." And the cue is the Dremel. And the Dremel is something that all my birds used to attack, because I used to tell them and force them when I didn't know any better, you know?
Yeah.
But Jill was watching, and they all went to their targets, or they all went to their stations. And when I went to the front of their enclosure, that's their cue. Put your hands on through the enclosure and turn on the Dremel, and then I just start dremeling. And she goes, "I didn't know birds could do that." And she goes, she's like, "Look at them. They look like your little students. They look like," she goes, "I didn't know birds were so smart." And I was like, "Sweetheart, you are in the right spot."
Yeah.
So Eva asked a question. Laura, what was the saying you used to quote frequently? Training is teaching. Yeah, what was that? Training is teaching. Teaching is learning. Learning is communication. Training is communication.
Yeah.
I mean, you communicate with your students every day.
Yep.
And I don't know, you probably primarily communicate with them via verbal communication. Yep. And a lot of times with birds, and I mean, birds do know a lot of what we're saying, but some animals have no clue of this garble that's coming out of our mouth. They are reading our body language, and body language is behavior. So they're looking and they're watching, and that's the same. Like a lot of times when I'm training an animal, my mouth is shut. I don't ever say a word. Sharon's, I think this is for you, Lindsay. Yep. Sharon says, did you see the question? Okay. Sometimes when you are training with Jazz, it almost looks like he somehow reads your facial expression. Is that actually happening, or is that even possible?
Okay. I don't have research to back this up, but my personal opinion is yes. So those that remember that teacher look, like when your teacher gives you that face and you're just like, "Oh shit." I have used that on birds, and they stop what they're doing. So if I've used it with birds that have come in the store that don't know me at all, and I give them that teacher look, if they're doing a behavior, I need them to stop immediately, and they do, and like in their tracks. And I don't have research to back this up. I'm not saying it's an effective thing, but they do. Like when I've had on my own birds, on birds at the store, I'll give them the teacher look. That you don't get to your teacher, like you just trust me, like you don't comes with the profession. And that they do, but they will read your face. Even not just that, like I'm sure Laura can talk about maybe other examples maybe that she's had, but like I know the latest video I put up, I gave him a face after he sort of tried to get my hand, and then he immediately, like, he saw me and he like backed up. I was like, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Animals do read our behaviors. They're reading our facial gestures. They're reading behaviors coming from parts of our body or our whole body as a whole. Like when I come walking in here, sometimes I'm usually like, well, I think I don't know. Usually calm and relaxed and, "Hey guys, what's going on?"
Mhm.
But sometimes I come in and I don't even look at them. Like I am focused on something that needs to happen. And so I'm like walking probably more rigidly, faster. And Rico has positively punished my behavior of doing that because he can read that behavior. That behavior is usually associated with me not paying attention to him, and usually right associated with my tone of voice getting louder.
Mhm.
So it's usually, I don't want to say when I'm upset, but I could be upset or focused or something serious is happening and I need to respond right now. He will scream, and it's a certain type of scream. It's a wah wah wah, and it just keeps going on.
Mhm.
So my behavior has a consequence of him screaming in that particular way, and I look over and I can read that he's stressed
Yep.
because now he's breathing heavy.
Yep.
His body is rigid and stiff. So his screaming positively punishes my behavior of walking in like that. And if I do walk in like that, I stop, breathe, think, and then I walk through the door. Hello, guys. And then I come in my office and shut the door, and then I start screaming.
I know, right? Yeah, no, they do. Especially Jazz says he really reads off of me pretty well, and he'll reflect that. Um, yeah, no, yeah.
So, okay, I know you mentioned before, Lindsay, we talked
Mhm.
about targeting. You mentioned at the beginning of the live stream about stationing, that when you walk in the room, all your birds go to a station. Do you want to explain to people that may not know what a station is or what
So
we're doing?
So as we learn in the Parrot Project, a station is basically a location. It doesn't have to be even in their cage. Like as Laura explains in the Parrot Project, she'll help you through it. A station is a place. Usually it's a perch for a bird, a location where that's where training happens. And that training is always positive reinforcement. So that station they relate that station, that perch, wherever what you use in your house or home, like that's a positive place because if I go there, we're going to communicate and I'm going to get positive reinforcement for that communication. So it's viewed as a big positive area. So for me, I have chosen, I do my stations currently are perches on their doors, which I don't know if you can tell by the video, but I have dwarfism. I'm only 3'9". I have a green wing macaw. I'm pretty sure I'm the only one in the world that exists like that. So I have a huge, huge cage, right? A 4 feet by 3 foot cage for my macaw. So if he's just a foot away, like I mean, if he's anywhere in the middle or back of his cage, like it's basically can't reach him. So I mean, it's just a honest fact. So stationing has actually been one of the biggest takeaways to make my life easier and the bird's life easier though too. When I come in the room or if I need, Jazz, my macaw, he goes immediately to the station on his door and his perch. So like one of those myth is that the bird if the bird's eye is above you, they'll always be dominant, like if they're above you. Well, I'm here to crash that myth. Like
Thank you. Thank you.
quite literally crash that myth because he's above me all the time, but he's not dominant over me. So his specific, so he's a huge cage. His station is a perch on the door, and it's like on the lower part of his door, like Jessica, like what you guys would see, probably like at your knees for an average height person. Like that's where his station is. But for me, it's the exact perfect spot where he's just where I can reach him and like he's right there and it's actually the perfect spot where he can put his head right here and just cuddle while he's standing there. So it's right at that perfect spot. So stationing is not only great, I mean, it is for training, but it's opened a whole accessibility thing for me. So if you just want to talk about accessibility as that I don't have to worry about getting my big bird out of the cage because he'll come to me every single time I walk in that room. And then same with my Amazon has a decent cage. But I mean, like again, I don't have to go get him; he'll come to me. And so,
That
just
is
from an accessibility standpoint, it's
That is a
Right.
beautiful
Very phenomenal.
example.
Like, it's sort of hard to make it like if it's a big thing.
Yep, that is a beautiful example of how a station, how you can use a station to get behaviors that you need. And you touched on something about the big myth is if the bird's eye levels are over you. I've
Mhm.
heard when I first got into birds, I heard never let a bird be above your head because they will try to claim dominance over you, whatever the hell that means. What I saw was, and this was before I was educated in the area, and I was just looking, I was like, well, it's over your head so it can get away from you because it doesn't like what you're getting ready to do.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's using any form of locomotion to get the hell away from you. So, and you guys have seen in the Parrot Project where I've got 5 minutes to be with my birds. That's it. And if I have flighted and unflighted birds, so I get Rico out of his enclosure and took him out into the 8,000 square foot aviary that he had at the old center. And I would fly him. I've got 5 minutes to get you out, fly you, bring you back, put you back in your enclosure, and say goodbye again for the rest of the day. But we could do that, and that ceiling was 30 feet high. They're always above my head.
Mhm.
So that is a big fallacy. There's a lot of fallacies working with birds. Um, okay, Lindsay, believe it or not, we've got about 12 minutes left.
Yeah.
Um, and I know this is too important to pass up before we start
Mhm.
talking about another topic.
Mhm.
Um, your work with harness training, Jazz, in the Parrot Project. Everybody in the Parrot Project has been able to watch you.
Yeah.
And even the video you posted last week, you said you've
Mhm.
been, and it happens with me too. Even
Mhm.
though I'm a trainer, I go days without training. I may go a month without nail training, and I don't train again until I see, oh, your nails are super long. You know,
Yeah.
you made an important point the other day, last week, when you posted your video with Jazz on training. You want to take it from there?
Yeah. So, like I said, I'm a teacher. For those listening, if you know a teacher, give them a big hug and a Starbucks gift card. It's a tough world right now as a teacher. So obviously, I haven't been able to do my harness training on a regular schedule with Jazz, and so it's been months. When I posted that, it's been months that I had done the harness training with him, and so the video shows. Um, First of all, he let me put the harness so I have an open harness, the kind I have that clips around. So right now, I just have it sit on him and it's opened. It's not clipped yet. But the fact that even though it's been months without training, he still let me, um, with positive reinforcement, he let me place the harness on him and it sat on him and he moved with it on and he got on my arm and he got off. There was a little bit of bumps in there in the videos you saw. He like, you know, which was going to happen because it's been some months, but just the fact that it's been months, but he still I honestly was shocked that I even got it on him. But it sort of shows you he if anything that instilled that harness when he sees it. I mean, if anything, he does not see it as a negative. He doesn't see it as something to be scared of, which is
Good.
the biggest hill to get over usually in the beginning. And this is Bird. Jazz is a rehome, and he does have fear of certain objects, or really fear of things touching him is the biggest one. He's a macabre, but he's not all about the touching. So I think that was the biggest things. I was shocked to even let it touch him, and he was fine. And he remembered I have a command at the end. I say off, and he knew. Like if you watch that video, he immediately puts his body closer to me, ready for me to take it off. Like I don't know if you saw that. So that helped me, even though it's been months. He knew off meant she's taking it off. I'm gonna be still and let her do that, which was great.
I love that. You mentioned, okay, so you talking about the harness training reminded me birds aren't hatched, dogs aren't born, primates aren't born being afraid of a lot of things. They're not born being afraid. Like Jazz wasn't hatched being afraid of a harness.
Yeah.
Rico wasn't hatched attacking a syringe. Those are learned behaviors. So when I first started, the thing that made me want to start teaching Rico to accept medication from a syringe was the first time, well, not the first time, the one time I got a syringe out of the fridge and Rico looked at me and boom, took off flying the other way. I was like, well, he wasn't hatched like that. But it's because before I knew better, in order to give him his medication, I did what I was told to do. I toweled him, tipped him over on the back, opened the beak, force him to take it. So birds don't have parrots don't have an epiglottis, so it feels like they're drowning. And I remember being so stressed doing this to my bird, and then it taught Rico to start biting me. It taught Rico to start flying from me. So what I'm saying is, if you see a bird acting like that, that is learned behavior. And applied behavior analysis, behavior modification, and positive reinforcement can help you train that. So to the point where Jazz, when he sees the harness, instead of running from you, he goes and patiently waits on his station for the harness to be placed on him.
Yeah.
And Rico, when he sees the syringe come out, he starts, hello, hi, I'm over here, come here. Eva says the element of trust that exists between you and Jazz is so evident in your training. It's simply amazing. And it is. All of us in the Parrot Project are watching it. And I love when other people post their videos instead of just me, because it lets me, that is my reinforcer behind why I continue to do what I do. And when I saw you get on and post that video last week, I was like, yes, she has not given up. She knows this can keep moving forward.
Yeah, like it takes a while though. I mean, I think the biggest thing is not to rush. Like that was probably the biggest, and I think the Parrot Project helps. Is you want to like, oh, he's got this, and so you want to jump into the next shaping, and I've had to back up a lot of times though with him, like because I go too fast, and I'm like, oh, back up.
Yeah, and Lindsay, you know what's going on in your head. You know what you're thinking. Your bird is stationing in front of you, reading and like trying to pick up on communication from you. What do you want me to do next? So, and I'm just saying you in general, because I've done the same. If you know what you're thinking, so if you're like, oh, he's got this, I'm going to move on to the next step, and Jazz doesn't understand and say, I don't know what he would do. Say he leans away from you and opens his beak. That's a sign to you that, oh, he doesn't understand what I'm asking.
Yeah,
I'm taking too big of steps. Take a step back and shape this behavior.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing is the shaping for this, because the style harness, there's a lot of shaping that goes into it. And again, I think this Parrot Project helps too, because it's okay to have trial and error, and it's okay to have an error, and it's okay to go back and try again or try something else. Sometimes you just need to be told that. Like, and I, as a teacher, and I guess you just need to be told it's okay. Go try again. Just another way.
And you know, nobody is. I think a lot of people feel very comfortable posting in the Parrot Project because there is no dumb question. Don't be afraid to look stupid, because if I see you post a video, you know what you're showing me is that you're trying. And if you want me to guide you, I'm going to jump in there and guide you, because if I see you trying, that means your bird's going to live a better life, and that is exactly why I do what I do. Okay, we've got like 6 minutes left, Lindsay. I know we talked. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Because I know I mentioned, okay, halfway through, we're going to talk about this. That was like a half an hour ago.
No, I mean, like a lot of this stuff, like I think we have most basics. The one big thing I took to, like the replacing behavior with another one. So my conure, the one that's mine, Roxy, she's a ninja and she knows how to get out of, like, if you barely crack open the water door, she knows how to get out. So so when I change the water every morning, it used to be this whole thing and take up time in my morning. So I've taken that, and because of parrot project, I've learned, okay, I need to give her something else to do. So the station that we all talk about, I've taught if she stays on her station, when I get the food water bowl out and close the door, then she gets a reinforcement for it. But so I had to so it's something else. I don't know, just your thing, like some people just want the bird to stop, but you can't just stop. Like you've sort of helped us in the peer project. They need to learn something else. Like it's not just stopping it. They got to do something else to replace that behavior. And I feel like that was pretty much like a black and white example of it. I'm like, oh, okay, this is what I got to do to get
Good.
doing that.
Good. Because a lot of times, I mean, if you put yourself in the bird situation, which when I was getting started, and before I started searching for information, education, I was trying to do the best by Rico as possible because I didn't understand this amazingly intelligent creature on my hand. I tried to look at things from his perspective. And like in level 1 and level 2, we have the podcast that people can listen to. And not only do I say you can see behavior, but you can smell behavior, you can feel behavior, you can hear behavior. I can hear my bird screaming. I can hear if it's an alarm call. I can hear if it's an attention call. When I walk around with Rico on my hand and I look a different direction and I'm focused on what I want and I feel his feet tense up, you can feel behavior. I will immediately look at him and see what he's concerned about.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel that lean. Like
yeah.
To bring a harness up like this, I can feel the bird lean backwards, letting me know it's not comfortable. Or I can feel the bird lean into it. I can see it. So good. Okay. Now we've got 3 minutes left. I know I wanted to discuss real quick, and we'd only have to talk about this for a minute if you want, but the holidays are here. Yes. Get your birds prepared for the holidays if you haven't already done it.
Yes. So if the plan is boarding, depending like whether it's a veterinary, well, especially if it's a veterinary office where you board, I hope you've already contacted them. Because you got to plan ahead. So, especially with veterinary offices, they're, through the pandemic, they've been low staffed as well. And then, but if you have a local rescue or bird store that does boarding, hopefully you've contacted them already about boarding. If you plan to be gone, I mean, that's probably one of your safest options. If your birds are at home and you plan on cooking, there's just basically make sure whatever.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah, have your birds safely in another area of the house that's well ventilated from the cooking area. And if Dr. Jason was here, to be like, fresh fruits and veggies.
Shouldn't be cooking anyways. Oh, Lindsay, it was really great having you on here today. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was good seeing you again and good talking to you. And you gave me an idea. I'll contact you after the live stream about it. Cool. A couple of different people. I wanted to mention a couple of things that people may not be aware that's becoming available. I know Storm is on here, made a nice testimonial about learning a station through watching Coffee with the Critters with his dog. And Eva, thank you for your comments on how important the Parrot Project is and that we help each other. We work as a group. Something I wanted to mention real quick, there's several different things that I offer. But this I'm offering to subscribers of the Parrot Project first. You're going to see me post within the next week. We are getting prepared for a workshop here at the Animal Behavior Center that we're going to offer. We offer several, but this one is going to be understanding behavior through working with birds. And I am going to present you with a plethora of different species of birds, because you may know green-winged macaws, you may know umbrella cockatoos, but what the hell is this Turaco saying to you? What the hell is this hornbill doing? How do I get this? How do I understand behavior? And I'm going to guide you. So many people that have A lot of dog trainers have taken my workshops and want to work with the birds because we learn when we don't understand when we're not familiar with the animal in front of us. And that's what I'm going to do. So I am getting ready to post that in the Parrot Project. Once it fills up, it fills up. So Parrot Project members will have first dibs on reserving your seat. Wasn't there? Oh, I have presentations I am currently working on that I will be live streaming. Also, we have, as many of you may know, different webinars on different species of animals, on behavior. But for example, anything parrot related that I live stream a presentation on is free to people who subscribe to the Parrot Project. Any webinar I have that is focused on behavior is free to people that are in the memberships. We have the level 1 and level 2 membership. Level 1 is primarily for people living with animals. Level 2 is more intense for people who are wanting to get in the field, board certified behavior analysts, animal professionals, or people who just simply want more information on understanding applied behavior analysis. So with that being said, Lindsay, unfortunately, as soon as I end the live stream,
Yep.
we're gone.
Okay.
But you gave me an idea. I'm going to send you a message right after this.
Okay.
I'm thinking of a public group live stream right before Thanksgiving because you made some key points I didn't even think about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. There's yeah.
We don't have 30 people in our house every day of the week. So this can be very scary, or it's a time for our animals. It can be a time for animals for people to train our animals to do things we don't want to do. I'm going to talk to you about that after this. I'll send you a message on Facebook.
Yep.
Sound good?
Yeah, no, it's perfect.
Lindsay, happy holidays to you. It's good seeing you again. Now that some of the restrictions are lifting in the United States and the world, hopefully I see you very soon.
Yes, I'm hoping.
Everybody, happy Thanksgiving. Thanks
My
for
birthday. Bye. Can you hear them?
I can.
They're saying bye.
Bye, birds. See you, Jazz.
Here you go.
See you, Lindsay.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you.